Hey everybody, welcome to As the World Burns. My name is Stevie, and today we're going to do a local video. We got some crazy things going on in the Southern Tier and Western New York, and I know there's a lot of people around here that might not know about everything going on, so we're going to fill you in and get you up to speed. First off, I wanted to let everybody know that the Olean Common Council approved its budget for the 2024-25 year. It's a $29.26 million budget, and I know this stuff sounds boring, but there are things in here that affect everybody. The first example in the very beginning of the local article, city tax bills and water rates will be going up just under 4% in June. I believe the water and sewage rate is 3.76%. They've raised it. But that's definitely going to affect everybody. All right, that's your taxes you pay locally. Most people pay for city water. Um, Even people where it's included in their rent, I mean, raises like this could very well cause raises in your rent too. So it really does affect everybody. And it was a 6-1 approval rating. There was um, one opposition to the vote, and it was a Democrat from Ward 7, David Anastasia. He thinks that we should be staying within our means for our budget, and I completely agree with him. But the reason that this is upsetting is because we have had several water tax hikes. There's a hike almost every year. This one's a little more than it's been recently. And the reason for that, I believe, is the lawsuit, the civil suit that's currently being filed against Olean, the city of Olean, by the Seneca Nation of Indians. Now, I don't know how many people heard about this either, but back in the beginning of April, we had another wastewater overflow from our treatment plant into the Allegheny River. They had 2 in one day. And this is not the first time it's happened. The 2 overflows accounted for approximately 186,000 gallons of untreated sewage discharge into the river. The reason that this is a problem is because basically from here in Olean all the way down to Pittsburgh, there are people that rely on this for drinking water. All right. So if something happens here, it's affecting everybody downstream. After this happened, actually, the beginning of April, the Seneca Nation's Emergency Management Department advised everyone to cease any recreational activities in the river for a few days as well, because that's how severe it was. This has been an ongoing issue. In 2001, the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation actually issued an administrative order of consent for the city to upgrade its wastewater treatment facilities in order to stop discharges into the river. So this is 23 years ago. To date, the city has been unable to comply with the order, and it has been revised multiple times to give them additional time to complete it. Currently, they don't have to have this completed until 2042. I can't even imagine what our wastewater treatment plant, the shape it's going to be in by the time that comes around. This is not something, in my opinion, that can wait, especially when we are dumping sewage into rivers that millions of people rely on and drink from. That's ridiculous. In 2022, the nation sent a notice of intent to initiate civil action against the city, pursuant to the Clean Water Act. The nation even offered to assist the city in seeking grants and funding to be able to upgrade the water waste treatment, and the city declined it. They didn't even want the help. They refused. And it's getting to the point now where the Seneca Nation is in fact taking action, and they are taking our city to court. And what a coincidence that within a month of them getting this news, the city has a nearly 4% rate hike at our water and sewage. I mean, come on, obviously. It's to cover their legal fees, and we all know it because they have no intentions of upgrading the wastewater treatment plant when they have nearly 20 years before they have to worry about it. That's kind of messed up, but that's kind of how our city works, and I'm sure it's not the only city that works that way. Also, we want to talk about the walkable Olean. They're going to be starting phase 3. I believe they started at the middle of last month. And it's going up East State Street. They're taking out the traffic light. They're putting in another one of those horrible roundabouts that our streets are too small for. And the problem with this is that they're claiming that the better part of the project will be covered by grants and state funding, federal funding, that it won't be coming out of taxpayers' pockets. But that is not completely true. There's a $1.2 million award from the Downtown Revitalization Initiative, which granted $10 million to the city. So $1.2 million was put away towards this East State Street project. DRI funds, $663,498 comes from the State Department of Transportation. Their alternative programs, and $100,000 from National Grid. The remaining $1.34 million, including a $165,000 local matching share of the TAP award, which means we had to match what the award gave. So that came out of city funds too. So the remaining $1.34 million will fall to the city to repay through debt. Over $1 million in debt to fix a road with nothing on it. I realize there are houses and residential areas down there, the park's down there, but we don't even know if we're going to have a fireworks display this year because that funding's, because we can't afford to fund anything like that. So why are we starting new projects and dumping money into making the street look pretty when there's nothing there to attract people? In my opinion, that's not going to bring money. And our city always seems to use the excuse that they get all this grant funding to do these things and it'll help and it'll bring in more money and people into the area and tourism. The problem is there's nothing to attract them to those pretty streets. And we always end up with overage that we're responsible for that adds on to our debt as a city. I don't think in the current economy, inflation, the way people are struggling, that tax hikes and rate hikes are the best way to go. And, we should be pulling back on spending. We should be putting the money into the basic necessities and infrastructure to make sure that that's sound, and wait until there's a turnaround and things get better to be starting on new projects that aren't necessary at this time. My issue with this project too that makes me so angry is that there was a big to do in town about them trying to end the city buses, the Olean area transportation system. It's the only public transportation in the entire county, and it doesn't even cover the entire county. And there was a month or 2 month notice given in April, a public announcement that they were going to end the bus system. They were just going to suspend the service by the end of May. And there was a lot of pushback, and people were very upset. And the county actually stepped in and agreed to pay it and to cover the expense of it through November and then approve it monthly after November, as long as the city pays them back. So we'll see if that happens and how long we actually even get to keep the bus. But it kills me that they can't afford things like, basic necessities like transportation for people to get to appointments and run errands and get food and pay bills, but they can, afford over $1 million to throw into a street. And the other news that I wanted to discuss, I was not aware of this until recently. Maybe some of you were. There have been migrant families that came here illegally. They came to New York City, and New York City has a program to send some of them to other counties to spread it out a little. I had no idea that it reached as far as Erie County, but it does. And New York City is now taking these migrants that they placed in hotels in Buffalo and paid for them to live in hotels, paid for food, paid for phones, paid for everything else they needed for all this time. Now they're developing a new program to help move these illegals in. I don't care. I'm going to use that word. They are here illegally. These illegal immigrants, they are now going to move them out of the hotels and into apartments and permanent housing. They're trying to set up with the Jewish Family Services of Western New York to assist over 500 migrants find more permanent and less expensive housing. The agency would also help the migrants find jobs and to seek asylum. This, to me, is ridiculous because we know that there are waiting lists for income-based and rental assistance housing in all of Western New York counties, including here. At this point right now, I can verify this. I called myself the beginning of the year. You cannot even apply to get on the waiting list for the Housing Authority or Section 8 income-based housing as a single adult unless you are a senior citizen or you receive Social Security or disability. So if you are not disabled or elderly, that's it. You're a single adult, you can't even apply for housing right now. You can't even apply to get on the waiting list. And we know that a large percentage of these immigrants that are coming in illegally are single adults. So why are they being put in a priority from another city to receive affordable housing, to get jobs, to get asylum. There are people here that need jobs. There are people here that need housing, that are citizens, that pay taxes, that, have paid in their whole lives into our system, the system that's built to help its citizens. I'm all for everybody having help in housing. We need to, in my opinion, put our citizens and our own people first before we start helping others. So that is very frustrating to me. I'm not thrilled about that at all. I think it's ridiculous. I know a lot of this has been going on in large cities, but this is my point to everybody, is that these things are spreading. They don't just stay in the big cities. And now we are having these same problems here. I did a short video the other day and put it up about the crime rates. Um, it's just crazy. Just the other day, it was right in the local paper that the police are seeking information for gunshots fired on, in the middle of the night. This is not something that's going to get better unless we take the steps and solve the problems that are causing it and allow it to get better. We need to start, even on social media. Most politicians nowadays, elected officials, they have social media accounts: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Get on there, message them, post, comment, call their offices, write to them, email. I know it takes a few minutes out of your day, but if we don't start holding them accountable and demanding that they do their job and that they represent us as the citizens and taxpayers, they're not going to do it. So yeah, these are just a few things that I wanted to let everybody know were going on so that they could get an idea locally. I wanted to make sure that people know that we have the bus through November, but there's a chance that we don't. So, speak up, say something to your representatives, your assemblymen, council members, the mayor. This is a small town. It's not difficult to get a hold of those people, really. Also, the water rate hikes, as I said, that's going to affect everybody. The city tax hikes, that's going to affect everybody. Even people that rent and their utilities are included. Don't be surprised if your rent goes up because the water rates went up. I believe they are petitioning the utility companies to also be allowed to have rate hikes for electric and gas. I don't know how far that's gone here yet. I know what's happening in upstate New York. That's also something we want to keep an eye on, and I will try to let everyone know as the information comes out, keep everybody up to date. So they aren't just seeing it in their bill and struggling and wondering why it's just getting worse. But yeah, if you guys like getting these updates, if you like hearing local information and what's going on, let me know. I will continue to put out videos about it. If anybody has anything specific that they want to know more about, or they heard of something going on in town that they didn't get a lot of information on, let me know. I'm happy to dig into it and let everybody know what's going on in that scenario as well. Just go ahead, leave a comment, or you can message me, contact me on social media. If you like this video, please like it, subscribe, and I will be sure to keep putting more out for you as long as you want to see them and hear them. So yeah, in the meantime, everybody take care, stay safe, and we'll see you later.